Hello, world, and welcome to the Quick Kick Picks presented by Bros Talking Soccer. My name is Dave Knittel. I am here with my brother Christian to discuss MLS match week. I think it's 17.5. 17.5. We're in between 17 and 18, where it's July 3rd and July 4th. We're talking about their matches. Christian, hello, how are you doing?
Hello, David. I'm doing well. I'm going to see Spider-Man tonight, and the U.S. women won today. There's just a lot happening, and we got some MLS coming up in these next 2 days over the holiday midweek.
Yes, we do. It is midweek. It is a new month, so I've changed up my attire. I've changed up my strategy as well. I'm firing from the hip.
Same.
I have not prepared whatsoever, and so I'm trying something different this week where I am going to see how this goes, and we'll see what happens. But I can't do worse than I did last week because my predictions were terrible. It is July, and we want you to play along with us. So we have a quick kick picks game. That's what I'm trying to say, for you to play along with us. Leave your predictions if you're watching on YouTube below the video, or reply to us over on our Twitter at BT Soccer Pod with your predictions for all of the games. You get 1 point if you get the home team score correct. You get a point if you get the away team's score correct. You get another point if you get the result correct. So home team win, away team win, or draw. And if you get all three of those correct, you get a bonus 2 points. So you get 5 points up for grabs with every single match. Again, we're doing it throughout the month of July. The highest score at the end of the month gets to come on our podcast, which is so entertaining. Christian's yawning. He's so excited about it. And you get to come on for a 15-minute interview. Christian, who won in June?
Well, do you want me to tell everybody who actually won?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, guys, if you didn't know already, Christian won. This Christian, this guy, third person, yep, because it's that fantastic. But I was stripped of my award, which Dave can explain at a later date, or maybe he'll explain it now. I don't know.
So, yeah, we're just going to interview someone who isn't on the podcast all the time. And so we're going to bring on Soccer Noob.
I'm sorry that I'm just the best around.
So he's going to be
Nobody's going to ever keep me
interview
down.
In July. If you want to be on at the end of July, make sure to leave your predictions. If you miss a game or even a week, you can make up ground very quickly, or you can lose ground very quickly if you're myself in this game. So don't be afraid to leave predictions
for
here.
all of you frequent quick kick pick listeners, last week Dave just had to throw in there that I wasn't even winning, but I won anyway. So I just want everybody to know that. Everyone who was listening last week was like, "Oh yeah,
thank you. That was excellent addition to this.
Yeah,
We
it was obviously very necessary."
Yes. Also midweek, so I'm dressed down. I'm going polo. I'm seeing if that helps me predict better as well.
Black
Christian.
polo. It's Black Polo Day.
Yours looks blue, but mine is black.
It's black.
Okay. All right. So it's just your crappy camera.
The wall. You're looking at the wall.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. Last reminder before we get into it, we restrict ourselves to about 2 minutes because we upload each game to Twitter. The whole thing's going to be on YouTube, to Twitter, and they restrict us to about 2 minutes and 20 seconds per game. And so just I have about a timer. It's going to go off every 2 minutes and 5 seconds. So just be aware of that. You might hear some whistles. Enough chit-chat. Christian, you ready to talk?
Every time you talk, I yawn. I'm sorry. This is going to be fun.
First game, we are talking about kicking things off on Wednesday, July 3rd. We have New York City FC hosting the Seattle Sounders at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what do you think is going to happen?
All right. Well, every time New York City FC are hosting anybody, they're going to have a huge advantage here. After last week's debacle with the Union, I'm just so sick of that team and sick of that field and think that franchise should blow up. But, New York City FC do take advantage of that field, and they haven't lost there. They have just somehow grinded out results. Even when they're down, they find ways to come back, and they're a very resilient team, and they just keep getting results. I think that they're going to win again against Seattle, who are going cross-country for this trip. And although Seattle did come into the Union, they lost that game. Did they win?
Against the Union?
No, they tied. They tied, right? Earlier this year?
Yeah, I think it was a
they did. Yeah, so I mean, Seattle has done the cross-country trip and gotten points against good teams, but I just think New York City FC are just a machine right now, and they're getting results when they're at home. So I think they're going to win this game.
Yeah, the other thing about it, Seattle still has a lot of players away on international duty. I think Nico Ladero is probably coming back from Uruguay, but I don't know how much of a role he's going to play here. NYCFC has some players missing as well, but they were clearly fine against the Union. They have that advantage at home. And Castellanos, as much as I wasn't a fan of his antics during the Union match, I mean, he did exceptionally. He won 2 penalties. I think he scored the other 2 goals, so he had a role in all 4 goals. And I was impressed with him. He was filling in for Hebert. I don't know if Hebert is going to be back here, but even if he's not, they have enough firepower to score. I have this one ending up as a 3-1 NYCFC win. Christian, did you give a score?
I did not. I'm going to go with the 2-1 victory for New York City FC here.
Yeah,
I can't stand whatever his name is. I don't know. What is it? Castellanos? How do you pronounce it?
I think Castellanos.
It's
again,
Castellanos.
neither of us are. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was diving all over the place, and I'm sick of that guy. So hopefully Hebert is back.
Okay, there you go. But both of us have NYCFC winning 3-1 for me, 2-1 for Christian. Next match, we have Orlando City hosting the Philadelphia Union at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time down in Florida. I have the Union getting a 1-1 draw here. I don't know exactly what's going on with the Union. They fell apart in New York City after being the stronger side in the first half, and they seem to lose their composure on that, tiny field after those controversial calls, specifically the second penalty call. They also aren't a team that historically rotates their lineup a ton, and so I have some concerns about them playing their 3rd match in, I think, 7 or 8 days, and then they're playing Orlando again this weekend. And so I think if I'm the Union, I would want to rotate the lineup a bit, but they haven't shown historical propensity to do that. And so I don't know if we're going to see that. RJ Allen might be starting for the Union, a new signing as a right back. I would expect to see him in one of the matches this week. And again, I think that the Union have enough to get a result on the road here. I haven't said anything about Orlando, but Christian, what do you think is going to happen here?
Yeah, I think the Union actually will get a win on the road this time. I know that they haven't rotated the squad, and they're going to start to show fatigue at some point. But I just am not sold on this Orlando team. I think that they're a little bit wasteful in the attack, although the Union are very much the same way. I think that both teams are creative enough that they will create chances. I think this could end up being a higher scoring game, and the Union just nipping it at the end of the game, but I think that it's going to be something like a 3-2 game and the Union getting the road points here.
Interesting, yeah. Now, Orlando has pretty much, I don't know if they have anyone missing for international duty, and so they should have a relatively strong lineup. Again, I think that they do have a decent attack, but I do have confidence in the Union's defenders. I think that they are prone to mistakes every so often, though, and so I really am high on Jack Elliott. Austin Trusty is really hit or miss for me, especially recently, and Andre Blake's been away, but I've been really impressed with Matt Freese here, so I expect them to only concede 1. Anything else?
No, I think that I think that both teams are not really missing any key pieces other than Andre Blake being away for the Union, and they have a good backup in Freeze right now.
All right, awesome. Next match, we have the Chicago Fire hosting Atlanta United at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what's going to happen here?
I think this is a very interesting matchup here, and I could see this going any which way. I think the Fire are going to end up getting, I think, a draw out of this game, but really anything could happen. I think both teams have the ability to score goals and win this game. Atlanta are very, very solid defensively, especially in the last probably 8 match weeks or something like that. They have really come on strong, and they're starting to score goals to go along with their defense. Sorry, I'm picking my mouth. I have hair in there. But I think that the Fire are going to just be resolute enough to get a goal here, and I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Okay, I have it ending up as a 2-2 draw, so I'm in agreement with you on the draw. I think it's going to be a little bit more high scoring. I really like Chicago's attack. I think they have a lot of attacking pieces. I don't have as much confidence in them defending. Meanwhile, Atlanta, while I do have confidence in their defense, the fact that they're on the road, the fact that they're, traveling and it's midweek, I'm going to give the slight edge to Chicago getting some goals and breaking through that defense. And yeah, I don't know if Joseph Martinez is going to be back from Venezuela. I would assume he's going to be back and playing a role in this game. Again, I don't know if he's going to be starting or not, but I just think that Atlanta has enough in the attacking sense to get a couple goals here, and Chicago has enough as well to get a couple goals. If they were playing on a neutral site and everyone was fully healthy, I would give the edge to Atlanta, but the fact that it's in Chicago on midweek, I would give the edge to Chicago getting a result. It's not a win, but it is a 2-2 draw. Anything else?
Yeah, and I definitely think that the Chicago Fire aren't really missing many pieces right now. And although, right, I don't think many players are on international duty for them right now.
Mihailovic.
Yeah, but that's one player. I think that they do have the ability to score goals at any moment. They have a lot of creative players, and I think Josef Martinez will be back this week for Atlanta. But like you said, I don't think that he will be starting this game. I assume he'll come on in the second half off the bench, and it's just not going to be enough. It's going to be too late at that point for them to win the game.
So you got a 1-1, I got a 2-2 here. Next match we're talking about, we have Minnesota United hosting the San Jose Earthquakes at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Minnesota has historically been relatively strong at home, and San Jose might be the hottest team in the league. So this is a really intriguing matchup here. Minnesota's coming off that 7-1 demolition of FC Cincinnati, but it was FC Cincinnati. Let's not get too excited about those things. I still, however, have them getting a win here at home, 2-1, having them eke out this victory. I really like what they're doing from an attacking standpoint. I like Angelo Rodriguez. I like Darwin Quintero. And the defense is definitely solidified from having one of the worst defenses over a 2-year run in MLS history over the past few years. So it's nice to see them sort of solidifying things a little bit. And as good as San Jose has been over the last few weeks, I think that high of beating LA, they might have a little bit of a letdown midweek coming on the road here. And so I have this being a 2-1 Minnesota win. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, although I just did a little push aside when you said they scored 7 against Cincinnati. Scoring 7 goals is nothing to scoff at against any team in the league. So it really is impressive that they're able to create and score that many goals. A couple of those were just horrendous mistakes from Cincinnati. One was just a pass. The 7th goal was just a pass off the referee that ended up in a counterattack. So I think that the scoreline probably flattered Minnesota even more than it really deserved to, but Cincinnati really are that bad. Minnesota United are going to get this job done at home. I think that they're going to score 3 goals in this game. I agree that San Jose are one of the hottest teams in the league right now, but like you said, they're going to be exhausted from that LA game. It's just a rivalry match that takes a lot out of you, and I think that they're just going to have a little bit of a dip. They'll get back on track when they return home, but right now on the road, it's just going to be too tough for them. I think it's going to be a 3-1 victory for Minnesota here.
Interesting. I don't have as much of a let-off. I think that San Jose has proven that with their unique man-marking system, and also Almeida, their manager, has been so impressive elevating a lot of those players. I don't think they're a pushover, and they're going to certainly be in the playoff hunt the rest of the season, and it's going to be tight. I do give the edge to Minnesota here, though. Next match we are talking about, battling a little sickness, so excuse me there. Sporting Kansas City is hosting LAFC at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. I can't remember if I'm going first or you're going first. I think you're going first, Christian.
Yep.
What's going to happen here?
So, Sporting Kansas City are just – I don't even know what's up with that team. I think that they have so much quality, and I know that they've had injuries. I know we've said that multiple times, but it's just surprising that they're still not able to get the job done over and over again. And I think that they really have to get back into the playoff race. I think they're one of those teams that if they do sneak into the playoffs, they can cause damage later in the season. But right now, against the best team in the league, there's no hope for them. I'm sorry to say that. No hope. Literally none. Just this week. But
this is going to be hilarious when they win like 3-0. You know that, right?
They're not going to win. They've got no shot. No shot. Dave, I'm the June champ. I know these things. So LAFC are going to walk into this arena this week, and they're going to wallop them in terms of just attacking creativity. They're able to score goals, and everybody knows it. Every time they're on the field, you know that they're going to score. And I think they
didn't score this weekend.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're going to a much weaker team, and they're going to score 3 goals in this game on the road. I think SKC are able to score as well, but not enough to challenge LAFC, who are significantly the better team right now. And then going with the 3-1 road victory for LAFC in this one.
Okay, I have LAFC winning in a 2-1 fashion, but I think it's going to be much closer than what Christian thinks it's going to be. SKC is not a pushover. They still have a lot of players that have done really well in MLS over a number of years. LAFC is still going to be missing Tyler Miller and Walker Zimmerman. I would think Mark Anthony Kaye is going to be back, but again, I don't know how much of a role he's going to be playing here, if at all. Still, they have more talent. They've proven that they can score. I expect them to score on the road here and get a 2-1 win, but this is not going to be a pushover. I don't think it's going to be nearly as simple as Christian made it seem. Anything else?
Nope.
Next match we are talking about, we have the Houston Dynamo hosting New York Red Bulls at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. And so Houston, they're in a little bit of a rough patch of form. I think that has coincided with a lot of their players going away on international duty. Alberto Lis is back. Romel Kyoto is back. And I expect them to bounce back in serious fashion here and get a 2-0 win at home. Even though Red Bulls won over the weekend, if looking at the stats, they did not dominate that game. And yes, they got goals when they needed to. It was a late kind of goal when the match, when their opponent was pushing everybody forward. I can't remember who they played this weekend off the top of my head. But it ended up 3-1, and that was because of a late goal when they pushed everybody forward. The Fire, yes, exactly. And so the Red Bulls, again, I know it's the style that they play, and the stats don't necessarily lend themselves to being favorable, but Houston has been really good at home. They have talent, and I expect Houston to get a comfortable 2-0 win at home. Also, Red Bulls playing midweek against a Western Conference opponent, wouldn't be shocked to see heavy lineup rotation here. But Christian, what do you think is going to happen?
I expect to see lineup rotation, although they have rotated their lineup. I think when they were in Dallas earlier this year, and they ended up dominating that game and won and played a much more attractive style of play, shockingly, on the road at Dallas. So I expect to see something similar, but Houston are a better team. And especially with their returning stars, I expect them to continue to get back to the form they showed before the international break. So I think Houston do walk into this game and win probably, I'm going to guess 3-1 in this game as well. I know I've guessed 3-1 a lot of times here, if you're keeping track of my scores.
Everybody's winning 3-1.
Yeah, I think Houston really do have the pieces to cause the Red Bulls some trouble. And I know defensively they have had issues in the past this season, the Red Bulls. So I expect on the road, they just, midweek, they're not going to be able to create as much, and they're going to give up a few chances here.
Yeah, and to back it up, I have Elise and Manotas, two of the Houston attackers, in my fantasy lineup, so I'm expecting goals from them, especially with it being a double game week for a lot of teams in MLS, so I'm expecting goals in that. 2-0 for me. Next match, I don't know why this whistle has gotten so quiet, but it's quiet now. Next match we're talking about is Real Salt Lake hosting the Columbus Crew at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what's going to happen here?
Oh boy, Columbus, my lord, what has happened to you?
Well, we're thankful that FC Cincinnati is in this league. I think that's what's happening to them.
Yeah, because I mean, they were one of the best defensive for the first 5 weeks of the year, and then match week 6 showed up, and ever since it just have fallen to pieces. They are lost. I think they have one win since that 6th week, maybe.
I think since April.
Yeah, they have one win since April, and that's not good. If you're keeping track, that's just not what
July. Yes.
So so Real Salt Lake, as long as they're not FC Cincinnati, they're gonna win this game. That's really what I'm gonna say right now. They have
FC Cincinnati in this.
The two Ohio teams should just stay there. They should play each other every week because it's just fun for everybody else to watch them fall apart when you play against them. I think that Real Salt Lake are a pretty solid team. I don't think they're one of the elite teams, but I think that they have the pieces to cause any team trouble on their day. But especially against Columbus, with their missing pieces right now too, the injuries to Higuain, Trapp is still out, Steffen's gone. They're just
Zardes.
No chance here. I'm sorry, no chance on the road. 4-0.
So I have it being 3-0 here. RSL's coming off a big victory over the weekend over, I think it was SKC, and I just expect them to play well at home. Columbus, like Christian touched on, they're just in a free fall of form, and it's rough to see. I mean, it was awesome that the fans stepped up and saved the Crew, but Porter's having a really rough time, implementing his system and sort of transitioning out of Berhalter. And yes, they dealt with some injuries, they dealt with some absences, but it still doesn't excuse over this extended period how poor they've been. And I expect RSL to cruise at home, get a 3-0 victory. I don't know if there's anything else really to say, Christian.
Nope.
Whoa. Switching gears to Thursday, July 4th, I have changed. I got new things behind me, and this is definitely not because our recording got messed up. We had this pre-planned the entire time, and this was exactly what we expected. I'm dropping papers over here. This is a goddamn train wreck, Christian. But Thursday, July 4th, we have 3 more matches to talk about as we had planned this entire time. We have the Colorado Rapids taking on the New England Revolution at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our country's birthday. Revolution, Independence Day, you get it, you know? It all fits here. Now, getting to the actual deets of the match, I have Colorado getting a 3-1 win here. Now, New England has performed better, as has Colorado, since both let their managers go, but I think Colorado may be trending in an even more positive direction. They beat LAFC this weekend, 1-0. They shut out the highest scoring team on record pace in MLS history. I think they've only been shut out once or twice on the season, and so they can score goals. They generally haven't been the greatest defensive team, but they shut out LAFC, and so in this one, I think New England gets a goal here. I think they've been trending a little bit more positive, but cross-country, midweek, against a Western Conference opponent, I'm going to favor the Western Conference home team, and they get a 3-1 win. Christian, what are you expecting?
Well, since Dave took some of my analysis that I gave the first time we recorded, I guess that
you can't prove
I'll change some of my stuff. What I'll say is that I expect Colorado to win this game. However, a couple weeks ago, I would have been saying that these are two of the worst teams in MLS, and probably only 5 or 6 weeks ago, I would be saying that. Both teams have been trending upwards since they hired their new managers, and Connor Casey and Bruce Arena have done incredible jobs at turning the teams around. So I think that even though New England is trending upwards, they still are the weaker team compared to Colorado on the road with a different field in terms of them usually playing on turf. They're going to a grass field in Colorado, which isn't as big of a disadvantage as playing on turf when you don't. But I still think that it is advantage Colorado on the road. They're going to win this game 2-1 in a close encounter.
All right. So, yeah, be on the lookout for that one. Next match, give me the timer. There we go. Just quiet whistle. Don't know what's going on there. All right. Next match we're talking about, we got FC Dallas hosting DC United at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Christian, what's going to happen here?
So even though Paul Arriola is away, I think DC United still have the firepower to get the job done at Dallas. I think that they've done a good job in the past on the road, but I don't think that they will get the win here. I think FC Dallas are a compact team and pretty solid at home, so I think they're going to be tough to break down for DC United. I think it's going to end up in a 1-1 draw here. I think that I said I think a lot in this video right here. So I have been thinking a lot about this game. I do expect FC Dallas to be the more threatening team overall, but for DC's just challenge that they've put up in the Eastern Conference and just their determination to get them a point on the road, it doesn't look like any team in the East really wants to grasp that lead when they get it in the East, and
they don't want it.
It just seems that DC are going to be that same way this week, and they're going to be fighting, but just not enough.
All right. So, but they still get a draw. So for you, I have FC Dallas getting a home win here. I have it being tight, but I have Dallas getting the victory here. I've been really impressed with their midfield. It looks like Carlos Correzo is moving on. FC Dallas is going to sell him, and they're giving the keys to that midfield three to Cervania, Cerrillo, and Pomical. I'm really excited about those prospects. I love Ziegler and Hedges in the back, Jesse Gonzalez. They have talent and strength all over the pitch, and being at home, like Christian said, they're a tough team to beat. Again, DC playing midweek against a Western Conference opponent. I'm always going to favor the Western Conference team, especially midweek. And so for that reason, I have Dallas getting a 2-1 win here. I think whether it's Baji, whether it's Ferreira, they don't get a ton of goals individually, but they get goals collectively as a team and find a way to get a win here. Anything else, Christian?
Nope.
That was a decent whistle. Last and final. That's what I'm saying. Match of the weekend midweek, Thursday, July 4th, we have the LA Galaxy hosting Toronto FC at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As this video has devolved into complete chaos, I have the LA Galaxy getting a 3-0 win here. Now, that is kind of against the run of form. They got absolutely spanked in the Cali Clasico over the weekend, 3-0 by San Jose. Having said that, I expect them to bounce back in a big way here. I expect Zlatan to get back onto the score sheet. He's had a rough run of a couple matches where he hasn't been playing great and hasn't been getting the goals. And I expect him to get multiple goals in this one. And for Toronto, I know that they got a big result a couple of weeks ago. I think they beat Atlanta when I didn't expect them to. And then they drew against DC. Christian?
Yes, they were on the road at DC this week.
At DC, yes. And it took a late Wayne Rooney penalty to draw for DC, so Toronto was in the driver's seat. Having said all of that, still without Josie Altidore, still without Michael Bradley. Osorio might be back here, and I don't know how much of an impact he's going to have, with the Gold Cup, if he's going to play a full match here. But I just don't have confidence in this Toronto team. Christian, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I just don't know what to add, considering you take all of my thoughts every time.
I didn't take those thoughts. I had those in the first recording.
No. I said Josie Altidore and Michael Bradley in the first one. You didn't say those. But it's fine. You know what? It's fine. We'll figure it out. Okay. So I think that it's going to be a LA win here, and I think it's going to be not comfortable, but in the end, the scoreline will favor LA Galaxy a little bit more. I think it's going to be a 3-1 win. They'll probably get a late goal to seal it. I know I said 3-1 a lot in this video if you've been watching all the games that I predicted, but I think there's going to be a lot of goals this week. So I think no one is going to stop Ibrahimovic from scoring multiple goals in this game for Toronto. Pozuelo, for as good as he is, I think has been found out a little bit by the opposition, but I think without Josie Altidore and Bradley, there's too much pressure on him and he can't do it himself.
2-1? So he said?
3-1.
Never mind. 3-1. The Christian score. Yeah. I hope everybody has a wonderful 4th of July. Go enjoy some midweek soccer. We hope you have a great Independence Day. This has been Quick Kick Picks presented by Bros Talking Soccer. Christian, anything else you would like to say to people?
I would like to show off my trophy for one, because I am the June champion. And let's go get some matches played.
Go enjoy, everyone. Have a great week. We'll be back on Friday with some more Quick Kick Picks. See ya.